Well, it's time now for our message. We're blessed today from Adelaide via Zoom. She doesn't have to leave the room. Welcome to Reverend Phyllis. Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis, for joining us today. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Reverend Bill, and welcome and a beautiful day to everybody. And I hope that you are enjoying beautiful weather like we are here in Adelaide today. Sea change. Some of us may have made New Year resolutions, as has been customary for many, many years. How many of you have done that? People who do this generally start out with very good intentions, and sadly, many of them lose their way throughout the year. And the resolution is let go. So why is this? Well, it could be for a number of reasons. And I'm going to share one of the reasons that I gave of giving up a resolution during my talk. But what is a resolution? The dictionary defines it as a firm decision to do or not do something. And I like that part, not do something. And the quality of being determined or resolute. It also can mean stubbornness and steadfastness. A New Year resolution is a promise to ourselves, generally, to do something differently in the new year. And I found in my search engine the top 10 New Year resolutions for 2022, I beg your pardon. And I found them rather interesting. And you may relate to some of them, you may not relate to a lot of them. I don't relate to a lot of them, but there we go. The first one was lose weight, interesting. The second one was eat healthier or change diet. The third one was get fitter and take more exercise. 4 was spend time with family and friends. I would like to see that one up further myself. However, everybody has different ideas. Number 5 was be more aware and take care of mental health. Very, very important thing for every one of us to do. Number 6 was sort out finances and cut back on spending. Well, a lot of us probably haven't done a lot of spending over the last 2 years because of the pandemic, or we've spent online, I don't know. It's not something I do. Number 7 is one that a lot of people are really looking forward to, and that's traveling more. Number 8 was take up a new hobby, sport, or other interest. Number 9, and this is far way down the list that where I would put it far up a lot further. It's be more environmentally friendly. I think that's a very important thing for us all to do. And number 10 was look for a new job. Well, I could think of a whole lot of other things that I would prefer to make resolutions about. Though some of those are things that I think we ought to be doing all the time, not just making a New Year resolution around. But anyway, if we decide to do something different, our thoughts need to be in alignment with that idea that we resolve to undertake. Charles Fillmore wrote, thoughts are seeds that, when dropped on or planted in the subconscious mind, germinate, grow, and bring forth the fruit in due season. The more clearly we understand this truth, the greater will be our ability to plant the seeds that will bring forth desirable fruits. He then goes on to say that in order for those seed thoughts to grow, they, like seeds we plant in the soil, need to be nurtured. If you have ever raised plants from seeds, you will know that they really need right conditions, water and light, warm soil, and constant care. It is also important to know what kind of end result you desire. Do you want flowers, shrubs, trees, or vegetables? We all know that if we want to enjoy a summer crop of tomatoes, you need to plant tomato seeds, not marigolds. So Charles explains the importance of being clear about your intention so that you can keep your thoughts focused on the desire. If our thoughts are clear about the desires of our heart, we are more likely to see the change we want and then make the progress we occurring as we continue to do what needs to be done to keep the resolution we have made. Usually a resolution takes time to nurture and bring into fruition, just as a seed takes time to grow into the full plant. However, if we allow our thoughts to stray from our goal, we may find that we are heading down a path that is not desirable. Just as if we don't take care of a plant, it won't give us the fruits of it that we were looking for. A few years ago, some of you may remember that I set myself a goal, a desire, a resolution, call it what you might. But my resolution was to walk the distance between Adelaide and Perth within a year. That's a pretty long way, and I worked it out that I needed to walk 7 to 8 kilometres every day in order to meet my goal. I was well on track when I had a fall and injured my knee, which interrupted the walking for about 10 days, which meant I was well behind my goal. And this was when I gave up. I gave up meeting my goal until one day someone said to me, "How are you tracking with your goal?" And I said, "Well, I've basically given up." "Why?" I said, "Well, I found I was well behind and I wasn't going to keep my time desire. I wasn't able to keep the timeline." "So," said this person, "you won't meet your original time goal, but you can still meet your distance goal." Yeah, that was true. I could do that. And so I started tracking my walks again and doing the 7 to 8 Ks a day and completed the distance a month later than planned. Excuse me. My intention in setting the goal in the first place was to help me keep fit. And my plan was to treat myself to a holiday in Perth at the completion of the goal. Well, when I gave up, I decided, well, I'll treat myself. I've done a pretty good job so far. I'll treat myself to the holiday anyway. And I set a time in which I would do that, spoke with friends in Perth and made arrangements that, yes, we'd catch up, blah, blah, blah. So I did. I met my goal of the distance, not the time, but the goal of the distance, and I treated myself to the holiday. I know I enjoyed that holiday so much more because I had the satisfaction that I had completed my goal of walking the distance between Adelaide and Perth. How easy it can be, I found, to give up on our dreams, resolutions or desires, or any other at New Year or any other time. But we need to hold on to the faith that we had in the first place at the beginning of and see the hurdles and challenges as minor diversions that are going to benefit us in the long run. When making resolutions, be it at the beginning of the year or any other time, it is important that the goal is our own and not someone else's. We must have a conviction that we can achieve the goal that will keep our faith firmly on the goal. Our resolutions, dreams, and desires are often about acquiring things. A certain make of car, a bigger home, updated furniture, and the list could go on in that regard. And not something, I beg your pardon, and it may also be about a better position in the workplace, which was one of the 10 goals listed at the beginning. It may be a desire to be more of the truth of our being, and that is one I love. Eric Butterworth wrote, though, a true desire is not to have, but to be. We are whole creatures in potential, and the true purpose of desire is to unfold that wholeness, to become what we can be, end of quote. So when considering desires in this category, that of being more of the truth of our being, we may be looking at expressing more of our divinity by being more loving, more accepting, more giving, and more able to receive graciously. And that can be a big one for some people. And you can possibly offer many more possibilities here. For us to see change in our lives, it is important to be self-aware, particularly of our thoughts. I came across a quote in my file of good quotes recently by Roy Eugene Davis, and he said, when you go to the grocery store, you don't pick up just any old food, even though there are many to choose from. No, you choose those foods that you desire and that are good for you. It is the same way with your thoughts. Pay attention to those that serve you and ignore all the others. End of quote. I like that. Pay attention to the thoughts that serve you best and ignore all the others. Well, of course, we suggest denials and affirmations to help us with that one. Charles Fillmore wrote, our words, our acts, and our whole life must be in accord with our ideas. I would add that in order for us to live our resolutions, dreams, goals, we must see them in our mind's eye, or even perhaps help ourselves see those dreams by finding pictures that illustrate the dream and put them in a place where we see them frequently throughout the day. I'm going to refer again to Perth. You might think I like Perth. Yes, I did. Loved it. When I first went to Perth to live, I was very clear that I wanted a sea change, as I had lived at the foothills of Adelaide for many, many years. Although at the time, unaware of the Unity teachings, I only looked at homes that were within a short distance of the sea. I knew what my goal was. The unit I was renting in the meantime was close to the beautiful Swan River, and I often went walking around the suburb. One day I stopped out of curiosity and went into a home open and met the real estate agent that was showing the home. She happened to be originally from Adelaide, and we got talking. And I told her that yes, I was on the market for a new home, but I wanted to live by the sea. And she said, well, have you considered living close to the river? I said, well, no, but that is a possibility. It is the water after all. And I'm not a swimmer, so being by the sea wasn't really something that I wanted to be able to do, go swimming in. It was just being there. I love the sea and I love water of any sort. So Sandra arranged to take me to inspect some of the homes on the market that were close to the river and in the area near where I was renting, which was south of the river at the time. And I did buy a home through Sandra. I loved that first home that I bought in Perth. It was close to the river, close to all amenities that I could possibly have wanted. And I spent many hours walking along the banks of the river, enjoying the beauty as I looked across the vast expanse of the Swan River to the King's Park. Looking back, I realised that I had narrowed my vision of where I wanted to live without considering other possibilities that would give me the enjoyment of being close to a body of water. Whenever I wanted to experience the sound of the waves, the feet, the sand between my toes, I really had but a short drive to get to the beach. And I was always close to the water anyway. Looking back, I believe that being open to new possibilities that embraced my desire of being near a body of water, I ended up living in the perfect area for me. Having made friends with people who lived close to the beach, I realised that the suburb I chose to live in was more picturesque and had many more advantages. Once I found unity and embraced the teachings, I became aware of the importance of making resolutions or goals or whatever you like to call them, having a vision of what I thought I needed without becoming too attached to the outcome. You see, if you are attached to outcomes, you could miss something much more desirable that is available to you, which is what I found when I became open to new possibilities in looking for a home. Did I have faith? Power of the month? Well, yes, I did. But I probably wouldn't have called it that then. This was, well, a year or so before I found unity, and, faith was probably not a word in my vocabulary. Well, it would have been in my vocabulary, but not something I would have used often. But as Eric Butterworth tells us, we all have faith, and yet we often place that faith in the wrong things and wonder why life becomes a challenge. We make New Year's resolutions, and our faith must be squarely placed on being able to achieve that desire. Being open to new possibilities that don't really change the desire, but rather enhance it. If there is any doubt, then we will find we either give up or experience something other than what we wanted. We need to be very mindful of the thoughts we hold around meeting that resolution if we truly want to experience the full satisfaction of manifesting the goal. So in conclusion, when making any resolutions to make changes in your life, be open to new possibilities along the way that may enhance the end result, and be sure to focus your faith on a positive outcome. Seek support if you need help to stay on track, which is what I needed, and dismiss those that are not supportive by denying their negativity as having any power over you. Recently, I have been revisiting the Australian series Sea Change, which inspired the talk, title for my talk today. And I love how at the end of each episode, there is a short conversation between two of the characters. And this one caught my attention just recently. The character Prani, who I think is Indian, was chatting to Kevin, a long-term resident. In fact, I think he had been born in Pearl Bay, which is where it was set. Kevin had just spent 3 years working on a boat with the intention of sailing from around the east coast of Australia. However, a lot of the townsfolk were mocking him and the little boat that he had intended to sail around the east coast. And so he was very willing to give up his dream. And Prani said to him, if this boat is your dream, you should stick to it, no matter if the whole world is beating at your door, telling you you are a madman. The distance between how people live and the way they dream of living is a vast and frightening ocean. You are not like any ordinary people. You are about to set sail. What a wonderful suggestion Pirani made to Kevin. He did set sail. Unfortunately, his little boat hit a reef and sank. However, he went a lot further than most of the townspeople ever thought possible. He needed some support. Maybe you do too, in order to keep your resolution. But can you see changes in your life? And are you about to set sail and live your dream? I hope that you are. God bless you all.
Wow, thank you, Phyllis. A dose of the sea, isn't it wonderful? Thank you for a very inspiring talk. And it's interesting how all of us here can relate some way to what you were saying. It triggers off something in our own experience. So thank you once again and for being here and sharing your wisdom to us. And we're going to build on your talk with the most perfect song.